Okay, we'll start with O'Connell Street. So that was around 2 a.m. into Saturday morning. We received a call of a man shot. We responded. What we found was 24-year-old Daniel Zyrus had been in the club that night. He had come out, and he appears to be walking by a man who took out a weapon and shot him several times. Mr. Zyrus fell to the ground. People that were with Mr. Zyrus also had weapons, and they appeared to start firing back at the shooter. So there might have been some exchange of gunfire. The shooter took off, and Mr. Zyrus was taken to the hospital by private parties. So his friends at the scene took him to the hospital, and he was pronounced dead there at Rhode Island Hospital. And that was in front of Club Rebel. That was letting out. About 20 minutes later, we get a call at the Cumberland Farms on Branch Avenue, and I know there might have been some confusion because I saw so many reports that the man was shot while sitting in his car on Branch Avenue, and that's not true. He was on Howell Court. He had a friend who lived on Howell Court, a lady, and he had went up there to see her. He was in the car with her, and who we know as her ex-boyfriend or a man who has a child in common with her, and then came on scene. He seemed very upset and agitated that she was sitting in the car with Andre Bonilla, who is age 23. The female then got out of the car. There were some words exchanged back and forth by the female and the suspect, and the suspect took out a gun and shot Mr. Bonilla as he sat behind the wheel in his car, through the window. Mr. Bonilla was able to drive out of there, and he drove down the street onto Branch Avenue into the Cumberland Farms parking lot, and he had hit one of the guardrails there in front of the store, and that's where he had passed away. And he was on scene, and he was removed by the medical examiner. In the meantime, the suspect now took the female back into her house. He assaulted her. Luckily, there was people in her house that were able to get him out and pushed him out. He then fled the scene. They went looking for Mr. Bonilla and found him at the Cumberland Farms. So he will be identified, and we will give you photos right after this conference. Okay. Any questions?
Major, can you spell the names of the victims, please?
Yeah, Lindsay will give it to you after.
Okay.
So, any other questions?
Where do we stand right now with homicides this year versus last year?
We're probably about even right now with total last year.
What's the number right now?
18.